Hi, folks. It's just about 5 o'clock East, and it's about 4 o'clock Central on this Wednesday, October 24th, 2012. I'm Stephen Boyle. Well, we have Hurricane Sandy spinning around Jamaica right now, and that is going to start heading northward here and go right through Cuba. There are hurricane warnings going on right now for parts of Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas. So if you live in these areas, I would definitely keep an eye on the weather here, and I hope these people are taking action right now, as this is a significant situation. We also have some tropical storm watches and warnings here going on for portions of the Florida coast. And what it does after it hits through the Bahamas is starting to get more confident here. The GFS was actually being very stubborn yesterday and keeping the storm going out to sea. So wasn't the Canadian. But those have both changed since then. And the euro, since um, really the beginning of this week, has been showing consistently that we're going to be talking about a major storm here for the Northeast. And I mentioned it the other day, and I'm going to mention it again. This could be a significant flooding concern. This could be a major marine concern, and this could also be also a major coastal concern. Um, this could be a concern on all different levels. Now, I know some people are going to come in here and say, "Oh, what about the snows? I've been hearing something about snows." Well, for for those of you who live into inland parts of Pennsylvania and New York, we may be actually talking about some pretty significant amounts of snow, and I'll show you the Euro's predicted snowfall. Some of these amounts could be quite interesting here into portions of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and New York. Some people could be buried in snows. So we'll sort of look at all of this and sort of really cut down to the chase here. This could be a very significant storm. So first of all, before we get on to anything else, I sort of want to show you what's going on here with the teleconnections, because this is really going to show you what's going on with that NAO. And when you have a NAO that is as negative as it is right now, um, you're gonna you can bet your money that we're not gonna be talking about this storm going out to sea. Just take a look at this NAO for me, and look at how negative it is. I mean, the last time we saw values this low was back in I believe it was 2010, when we had when we had that major snowstorm, or at least early 2011. It's been a long time since we've seen values this low with the NAO, and I just want you to look at it here. And yes, there are some models that are saying, this might go back up towards neutral or positive, but I don't see it doing that. I really don't see it doing that. And then the AO is saying, we're going to go positive here, but I don't really see either or uh, turning that way anytime soon, to be honest with you. But to be like I said, to be honest with you, this NAO and AO are going to stay quite negative, maybe briefly turn in positive, but I really don't see that happening. Overall, I see the majority of the consensus being pretty much negative, and we may actually be setting the stage. And this I'll be talking a little bit more about after the storm, but I'm sort of starting to see some indications here that that we will still see a very snowy November here, very cold as well. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, but it won't be this upcoming week that we'll be talking about snow. However, if you do live, like I said, into inland parts of Pennsylvania, western New York, and parts of West Virginia, I mean, you could be talking about some fairly nice amounts of snow. But until then, unless you live in those areas, you're not going to be seeing snow with this storm. This is going to be all tropical. And when we started things out here, this is going to be. Don't get fooled by the track. By the way, I mean, you're looking at this and you're saying, "Well, Steven, this thing shows it turning away from New England," but No, this thing is going to try. It's going to try to move away, but that NAO is going to prevent it from doing that, and it's going to kind of curve this way, and then all of a sudden it's going to move westward. You're going to notice that here because it's going to try its hardest to move east, and that NAO is just going to force it west. It's just the way how it's going to go here, folks. And the majority of the models at this particular point are agreeing on that sort of solution. So overall, that is the major concern I have at this particular point. And the National Weather Service offices all across the East Coast are starting to get the picture here. And we'll start off with my region with the hazardous weather outlook here. So this is for let's just talk a little bit about this. This is days 2 through 7, Thursday through Tuesday, and this is the hazardous weather outlook that they're putting out for northern Connecticut, central eastern Mass, northeastern Mass, southeastern Mass, western Mass, southern New England, New Hampshire, and northern Rhode Island and southern Rhode Island. It says, well, depending on the track, there is a greater confidence for early next week of a post-tropical Sandy making either a close pass, which would mean strong winds, high sea, and possible coastal flooding and isolated power outages, or a direct hit on southern New England, hurricane-force winds, downed trees and widespread power outages, high seas, and storm surge resulting in beach erosion and coastal flooding. And finally, heavy rains resulting in interior flooding. So that is what the National Weather Service, from courtesy of Taunton, is talking about right now. Here is the hazardous weather outlook that is put out for southern Connecticut, northeast New Jersey, and southeast New York. Sunday through Tuesday, there is a potential for a major coastal storm with heavy rainfall, high winds, coastal flooding, and beach erosion. This will ultimately depend on the eventual track and evolution of Tropical Cyclone Sandy as it interacts with a deepening upper-level low-pressure system approaching the east coast. This storm very well may just move out to sea, but at this particular time, I don't think that's a big possibility, and have little, if any, impact. Again, at this particular point, there is no models indicating it, but it's possible that in the future it may, but we'll see. Again, forecast confidence is still low at this time since Sandy is still in the Caribbean, and potential impacts are still at least several days away. Please refer to the National Hurricane Center for latest forecasts. So, overall, continue to monitor. That's for the New York City area. Moving on down to the Philly area, they have hazardous weather outlooks for this as well. Hurricane Sandy is forecast to transition into a large coastal storm as it moves northward and may affect our area in the Sunday through Tuesday time frame. Heavy rainfall, high winds, coastal flooding, and beach erosion are possible with this storm. However, this will ultimately depend on the eventual track. Same deal, but this is definitely starting to show you that the National Weather Service is in line with this possibly affecting us. So just keep in mind that this is going to possibly be a nasty situation. I just want everybody to know that this is nothing to take lightly here. So this is the current water vapor imagery when it comes in terms of Sandy here, and you can see that well-defined eye. I mean, this is not anything like what we were talking about with Isaac. Remember, it was very hard to see the eye with Isaac. We were saying, oh, where is that eye? Well, this is well-defined. I mean, you can see that eye. It is right there. This is a very nice looking hurricane at this particular point. I mean, you can see the rotation. It's very well. I mean, you can see these storms that are flowing into it, and you can see the flow coming in like this. I mean, it's a perfect setup here. So overall, folks, this is what the hurricane is looking like here, and you can sort of see that again. These are moving in this direction. This is moving in this direction, and it's just a perfect storm here right now. Um, it's a nice well of hurricane, and this is the infrared satellite loop, and again, I mean, you can see the flow coming into the hurricane. I mean, the flow coming into the hurricane is great. Um, and again, this is going out this way. Again, moving in a counterclockwise. I mean, it's just perfect. And if you look at the core of this storm, I mean, it's very impressive. Um, so I mean, this is nothing to fool around with. So there is the hurricane. Here is a satellite imagery, and just look at. I mean, you can see that eye very well. Um, it's just like I said. It's really a well-defined hurricane, Category 1 hurricane. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at what the models are predicting. Okay, what are the models saying when it comes in terms of Sandy? Is this going to go out to sea? How many models are indicating that this is going to go out to sea? Well, we'll give you the information on that. So these are all of the models. And yeah, you can see there is only really at this particular point one model that is saying, this thing is going to go out to sea. I mean, this is pretty clear cut at this point. I mean, it's definitely going to impact the East Coast. I mean, it's definitely going to either go at least the farthest north that this will go is Maine. The farthest south it would go is into here, but it's looking like a hit between really New Jersey and New Hampshire here. This is one of the this is really one of those storms where it can be very, very high impact. However, I don't see this being a Category 5 or a Category 3 hurricane. There's even some conflict on it being a Category 2, but even still, I mean, we're going to see some very heavy winds, and the rains with this are going to be intense. There will be power outages. There will be trees that will be coming down with this particular storm. And I mean, look at all of this guidance. It's just pointing right towards New England. And like I said, the farthest north this goes is into the Gulf of Maine. That's the absolute farthest north it goes. So I mean, there's really no models here there's this one model that takes it out like this, but that model is off. I mean, one out of I don't know how many models here are indicating that this thing is gonna hit the Northeast. Oh, and then you also have this HWF model here that's showing that this is gonna go out, or this EGRI. But those are very insignificant models. Most of the significant models take this right into the Northeast. Intensity forecasts. How about this? Well, this is what the models are indicating. Here's Category 3 status. You see that it doesn't go into Category 3 strength. At the strongest, it'll be a Category 2, and it'll start really falling down. It's possible that we may be talking about a Category 1 hurricane on our hands when this actually hits New England or the Northeast. But it will very rapidly decrease in intensity. However, remember, this thing is going to go extratropical, which means that its windshield is going to spread out very, very far. So instead of it being contained to a small area that you normally see when it comes in terms of a normal tropical system, when this thing becomes extratropical, its winds are going to spread out. And we're going to be talking about winds going all the way out to Buffalo, New York with this particular system. At least tropical storm force winds. So be very, very vigilant about this. Okay? So with that being said, the highest impact regions at this particular point look to be New England. Okay, so that means Maine, southern Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Mass, Connecticut, Rhode Island. Then we have the New York City metro area, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, all the way down to the coast of North Carolina. folks, this is going to be a serious situation. Um, at least Category 1 strength wins with this particular storm, which is nothing to fool around with. I mean, here in New England, we really aren't attuned to Category 1 strength storms. Down in the south, I mean, they're used to it. They have houses that are built to withstand hurricanes up to category 3 strength. Once it gets above category 3, I mean, that's when it becomes a significant issue for them. But even here, I mean, our houses are really not attuned to category 1 strength storms, which is between 75 and 90 miles an hour. That's pretty significant. I mean, you know, especially if you're going to be getting this for a good 12 to 24 hours. I mean, that's a long time of seeing this. So yeah, you are going to get some damage. And the rain, again, that is going to be very significant. It's going to be serious. So folks, it's going to be a very tough one here. It's going to be a tough storm here. That's all I can say at this particular point. Here is the late model intensity forecasts, and actually, no, that's not what I want to look at. The late model tracks. I mean, there's this one that takes it out to sea, but I mean, if you look at the overall consensus, I mean, most of them are bringing it in this way. I mean, it's just at this particular point, it just seems to me that it's pretty much. It just seems like it's pretty clear cut here. And when it does affect New England, according to these particular models, looks like it could be a Category 2, according to some of these models. At least a strong Category 1 is what these models are all indicating here, which is very significant. I don't know what the heck is going on with this model here. It says, oh, we're going to go up to a Category 4. Must be a model error or something. But even still, folks, I mean, this is going to be a serious situation. It's definitely possible that we could be dealing with a Category 2 hurricane on our hands. Here is the GFS ensembles. This is much different. This is what the GFS is predicting when it comes in terms of their tracks, and just notice how practically they all have this thing turning in towards the northeast. There's, I believe it's 3 that take this out to sea. 3 of the ensemble members take this thing out to sea, okay? And this is out of 20 ensembles, so that means 17 out of 20 ensembles are taking this thing into the northeast. All right, so really at this particular point, 85% of your models here now are bringing this into the northeast. So really, this is going to affect us. I mean, it really is. Notice how there's a big bulk of them that are actually taking it right into the New York City area. This is a serious track right in here if this were to happen. So we're just going to have to see here. I mean, we'll see what happens through time, but I am not liking the looks of this. Intensity forecast from the GFS. Some of the models are indicating a very strong Category 2 system. And as it makes landfall, some of them are showing that this thing could be a strong Category 1 to a moderate Category 1 storm. But even still, I mean, this is, like I said, this is nothing to play around with. So we'll see what happens here. So what I want to do now, guys, is just show you what it actually looks like on the models here. We'll start off with the NAM here. And this is, again, the most recent model with the NAM is the 12Z, and again, this is early. This is very early for the NAM, but you'll even notice that the NAM has this thing coming up to the East Coast. Actually, let me show you the East Coast. No, we don't want the West. on the East Coast here. Instead of showing you the whole country, we'll just sort of zoom in here on Florida to Maine here, because this is obviously the area that we're going to be watching. Here is our system, and you can see that it pretty much has this thing. It actually has this thing pretty much grazing the East Coast. It looks like eventually it'll be going up in this direction. I mean, this is serious stuff here. These would be serious impacts for portions of North Carolina here. And I don't know if you guys remember me talking about this, but I have mentioned it quite a few times. There is a sea pressure anomaly, so if it takes the track that the NAM is suggesting, we are in deep trouble. That's all I can say is if it's going to take a track this close to the coast, we are going to be in very major trouble. Because remember, there's a sea surface anomaly that is right off the coast of the Delmarva down to the just off the coast of North Carolina, and if it goes over that, then we're pretty much done. We're gonna be expecting. I would expect to see this thing just bombing out. Okay, let's look at the Canadian here. We'll take a check on that. This is a lot different from yesterday because yesterday the Canadian was showing that this thing was going to go out to sea. Here is the Canadian, and the Canadian actually takes a very close track to the coast. And what I want everyone to notice here, again, our sea pressure anomaly is right in here. I want you to notice how after these rains move in this direction through this anomaly, notice how they strengthen severely. Notice how we get very strong amounts of precipitation, and not only that, but our pressure drops as well. All right, so very, very interesting here. And then also notice how this eventually comes right into the northeast. I mean, it's 950 at the lowest. It has a 948 millibar storm coming in here, and maybe even lower than that. It's not looking like a good sign for us. Let's look at the JMA, which is the Japanese model, and the picture that the Japanese model is painting is not a good one. Just look at how this storm system it just bombs out. I mean, it produces massive amounts of rain on Long Island and through the New York City area. I mean, this is massive, and it has it going right through New England, the belly of New England. And then this eventually moves out, and then we clear things out after that. But all of the significant models now are on board with this. I also want to show you the Navy, and what the Navy is showing is even worse. It's an even worse picture. So here's the Navy, and it actually has it fairly close to the coast here. But just look at this. This is absolutely, it's bad. The picture that the Canadian is painting is terrible. I mean, look at these rains. This is absolutely, I mean, this is destructive rains here that we're seeing here. Some areas in 6 to 12 hours picking up 9 inches of rain. That is intense stuff here, folks. That's within a 6-hour period, 6 to 12 hour period. It's just phenomenal. And again, the winds that's with this, I mean, you can just see how, and you can see how large the winds go out. I mean, these winds go all the way out to Buffalo, and it's the heaviest of the winds are going all the way out to central Pennsylvania, with the center of low pressure just off the coast of Virginia. I mean, this is and fairly strong winds going as far north as Massachusetts. So I mean, these are this is a very the windshield with this, it expands way far out. So it's a very large storm. And again, it moves right through it actually has a landfall right in New York City. The center of the storm goes right through New York City. So we'll see what happens with that. That's the Navy. Looking at the GFS, looking at the Euro. The Euro has also been painting a very bad picture over the last, I don't know, 10 days. Or 4 or 5 days, few days. Here is the storm. Now, notice how small this storm is. Just notice how small this windshield is. Okay, that's because this thing is still tropical. All right, that shows you that this thing is a hurricane, that it's fully tropical, and that yeah, I mean this is a small area, but watch how this starts to expand as it moves more to the north. That's because it is becoming a post or subtropical system. All right, just look at this. I mean, it's phenomenal. They have a landfall going right into the Delmarva Peninsula, and it's just very intense. And then we see very cold air coming in by next Saturday, so we'll see what happens with that. Now, finally, the GFS. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any. Nope. So finally, the GFS, and then we'll show you the Euro ensembles as well. So here is the 12Z GFS for those of you who haven't seen, and you can see that there is our storm, and again, it tries to take it out to sea, but it curves it right back into New England in the northeast. So I mean that's the situation, folks. I mean there's really no getting out of it. And then we see cooler air coming in by later on, but we'll see what happens. But folks, here's what I'm trying to say here at this particular time. We are going to be talking about very, very intense conditions with this upcoming storm. There's no getting out of it at this particular point. Here is the Euro ensembles, and again, the picture that the Euro ensembles have been painting since really the beginning of the week have not been good. So I mean, all the global ensembles all the global models are really just showing a very bad picture for the whole Northeast. All right, and I want people to be very vigilant here. All right, this is not like a couple weeks away. Here is the system, okay, and it has a major impact going right into New York City. And this would not be a good situation for people who want to trick-or-treat on Halloween. This is not going to be a good Halloween for a lot of people. This is going to be a very bad Halloween, just to mention. So that's the situation right now. I know it's very intense, and I know a lot of people are probably going to get very paranoid, but I'm just saying it how it is here. Unfortunately, when it comes in terms of weather, you have people's lives at stake. I can't really, I can't blush this up at all. I have to tell you I have to say what the models are showing here. And I think very soon I'm going to be coming up with my own forecast, probably within the next couple days. And I'll be putting out my own graphics, and we'll be going in depth here. So do expect some more updates from me, but I'm just showing you that right now all the models are in consensus. All the models are in consensus at this particular point, and right now there is no one model, major global model, that is taking this thing out to sea. So we're pretty much at the same situation that we were back on Monday when or Sunday, when everything was in consensus and people were like, that's not going to happen. And if you look back at my past videos, you'll notice that I sort of mentioned something about a tropical system. At first, we thought there was the trough that's actually going to be coming in here was going to clear the coast, and then it was going to come up and give us a major snowstorm. Let me tell you, if this was snow, I mean, we would be talking about record amounts, but we're not going to be seeing this as snow, okay? But some areas will. And actually, before we go, I sort of want you to see what the Euro is predicting when it comes in terms of snows. Just because I think people are really going to want to see this. Alright. Here it is. Alright, so I just want people to see this. Okay, and actually we're going to clear the loops. And we're going to go to the northeast. Whoops. So here we go. Alright, this is what I want everyone to look at. So, we're pretty much good, I mean, through Saturday. This is what's we're predicting for the Euro is predicting as far as snowfall goes into parts of West Virginia and portions of Pennsylvania. I mean, we're talking almost 2 to 3 feet of snows into these areas. I would expect at least 6 inches of snow up here into New York, if not 1.5 feet into parts of northern Pennsylvania. This is a serious situation that's going to be setting out here into these areas of Pennsylvania. All of these areas, the reason why that there's going to be no snow is because they're going to be under the influence of the tropical flow. Because remember, tropical systems generate their own warm air, okay? And essentially what this is going to do is as a tropical system moves in like this is going to kink that trough, okay? And therefore, these regions will get the snows, okay? Maybe even regions down here into Virginia picking up as much as a couple inches of snow. But for the coastal areas, I do not see much snowfall with this. And actually, this snowfall up here into New England is with another system, not with the tropical system. But again, this is definitely significant snows. Some areas, like I said, picking up over 2 feet. And this is yet another aspect of the storm that will be very closely monitored. But for New England and the major cities, this is really going to be a rain-wind storm, not a snowstorm. But even still, I mean, if you look back to my videos, I mean, I did say that there was going to be some significant snows with this tropical system. I mean, I was thinking that it was going to be the whole Northeast, but I mean, look at, there is significant snows, and that's fairly significant. Localized regions picking up over 3 feet of snow, 36 to 48 inches. That's nothing to shrug off here. That's a lot of snow. So, and there's a wide area in here that's picking up over 30 inches of snow here. So that's very significant. It's definitely, like I said, nothing to just shrug off. But your major cities, I don't think will be dealing with any frozen precipitation with this. Just so that everybody knows. Parts of Michigan, well, could be seeing a good 1 to 3 inches of snows. But the major snows will be going on up into parts of Ontario and eventually into Quebec as the storm lifts out. Some localized areas yet again picking up over 2 feet into sections of Ontario. So for those of you who are listening in from Ontario, yeah, you may pick up a good snowstorm. And again, it looks like a good snowstorm affecting Pennsylvania and the mountains of West Virginia. So that is the situation here. And eventually this trough is going to clear the whole Northeast, and we are going to be seeing some chilly weather after that. So that's the situation when it comes in terms of the weather and the storm system. I hope everyone comes back for another update. I promise I will do another one tomorrow. But until then, be prepared. Start preparing for the storm. Make sure you have non-perishables. Make sure you grab up anything loose that is in your yard, and just put that away. And also start getting water, batteries, flashlights, all those sorts of things to make sure that you are prepared for this upcoming storm. So that is the situation, folks. I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll be back tomorrow with another update.